Riverside FM.
Hello, friends. Welcome to Marriage, Madness, and Magic. This is the podcast where we chat about marriage, the good, the bad, the crazy. Madness, maybe we'll spill a little tea. Magic, raising kids, and the pure joy and antics of grandkids. I'm your redheaded host, Tabitha Jean D'Agata, and this is my co-host, my Italian husband, Joe.
Yo, Adrienne, we did it!
Here we are, episode number 3. Yay!
All right, awesome.
I'm so excited.
Me too.
Episode number 3. So thank you everyone for tuning in. So far, we have had several people reach out, complete strangers too,
Yeah.
about the first 2 episodes saying that they thought it was funny.
Yeah.
It made them smile. Some folks could even relate to my turkey fiasco. And that's exactly what we wanted. When we started this journey months and months and months ago, talking about it and then finally executing it and starting a podcast, all I said was, if we can make one person laugh, one person smile, or have someone feel that they could relate to something we were saying, then we've succeeded.
We did it.
I'm not looking for millions of followers. What I'm looking for is just if we can make one person smile.
Yeah.
That's all that matters. Or just one person understand, say, I can relate to that moment.
I'm looking for millions, though.
Oh, stop. Stop.
1 million.
And I love doing the podcast. It is so different than social media. When you look at social media, what you're seeing is some people trying to outshine one another, politics, drama.
A lot of drama.
It's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
Some days it's wonderful and some days it's not.
Yeah.
I love seeing people share their kids and recipes,
Yes.
and I love all those things. I also love when we support each other and we're not just talking the talk and we're walking the walk, and we're supporting each other in our careers or businesses or cheering each other on.
Yeah.
I love that when I have a book signing or a new book has come out, because I'm a children's book author, that people will share it or cheer for it. I love that part of social media when we're supporting each other.
Yeah.
Just not the dramatics of it all, not the
No.
politics. And I just don't get into that.
I feel if you have a bad day, leave it at home. Don't put it on Facebook or Instagram.
Right.
Build each other up.
But sometimes we can't help it. Sometimes,
Yeah.
you're just sucked into that vortex and you just cannot help it. And that's understandable.
Yeah.
When you're passionate about something, sometimes it just comes to light. But we just, we want to respect each other in that sense and support each other.
Absolutely.
With the podcast, it is just you and I at our kitchen table having a chit chat without all the dramatics.
There's no drama.
No one's trying to drown it out. There's no competition in this room.
I'm not trying to I was going to say outshine you. You're not trying to outshine. That was good.
So
but we're not trying to do that to each other.
I love that part of it. Not a lot of people may know I've been writing for a newspaper. I've had my own column for over
20 years.
Over 20 years now.
Yeah.
And I use my platform there. It's an honor. It is a privilege to have that column because I get to talk about topics that matter to me. I talk about children's books. I talk about authors. I interview them. I interview artists, librarians.
It's all positive. It's all great.
Memories from, different points in my life. Each month I have a new column up, and I love that. I love sharing different parts, and that's a platform that's just such a privilege. With social media, sometimes I love it and sometimes I don't. But this podcast has been so fun and such a gift.
And it's another thing that we could do together. I love it. Yep.
Yes. Let's not cook together. We'll podcast together.
No, you do the cooking. I'll just wash the dishes. I'll eat the food and wash the
I think we should
dishes.
swap this role.
Yeah.
But something our children said to me recently, and it really meant something since starting this podcast. Both our son and our daughter at totally different times have said, I love that you and dad are doing this podcast because you're telling stories in your own words.
Yeah.
And
And stuff they don't even know because we haven't said anything to them.
right, right.
So
And our son said, well, one day when, for grandchildren and great grandchildren,
when we're
this
not
could be
around anymore,
shared through
yeah.
generations. And we're not going to have to say, hey, how did that story go? Or does anybody remember? Who can we ask about
Yeah.
this? And I think that's a really wonderful thing. And when he brought that point to me, the same with our daughter,
Yeah.
it made me feel good. It really did.
Yeah.
Because one of the reasons that I decided to do the podcast, I was inspired from my friend Celine, who's a children's book author. She has her own podcast, Life and Jest. And I was inspired by that to do my own podcast with you. But it wasn't until a year ago today my dad passed. Hopefully, I can get through this little piece.
Mhm.
And that was a really, really
That was
it was a
tough.
difficult,
Yeah.
tough time last year, not
Mm.
just for me, but for all of us,
Your
for
whole
my
family,
siblings,
yeah.
yeah, for everyone.
Yeah.
And I remember before he passed sitting there and thinking to myself, there were so many questions that I wanted to ask him and things that I wanted to say to him, and I didn't. And those questions, of course, will now go unanswered. If you're close to me and close in my circle, you may know this story. And I'm going to be very mindful how I share bits and pieces of this because when I'm sharing my childhood, it isn't just my childhood. It belongs to my siblings too. It belongs to my family.
Yeah.
So I want to be very mindful that when I talk about something, it's fair to them because it's their story too. I'm part of their story, and I always want to respect that. With that being said, if you know me, then you would know that my dad who passed away 1 year ago today, he was not my biological father, but he was the father that he chose me. He raised
He
me.
loved you, you loved him.
That's
Yep.
right. And I appreciate that so much and am grateful that I had the family, my siblings, and had the family that I had and
Yeah.
have today.
Yep.
And when he was passing and before, there were questions about the situation, things that I wanted to ask him. When did you meet mom? And how did it all come about?
Yeah.
And what was it like to have me, because I was somebody else's. So
Mm.
there was so many things that I could have asked him that I never did
But
because I was afraid to,
yeah.
and I didn't want to hurt his feelings, and our family growing up for us, me having a different father was not something that was spoke of.
No.
It was like taboo in the
And
house.
and he didn't treat you any different
That's
because
right.
you were his daughter, no matter
Exactly.
what.
So it was something that just wasn't
Yeah.
it was known, but it was the
Yeah.
unspoken.
Nobody said anything
It
because
just yeah,
you weren't treated different.
we were not we
Yeah.
did not talk about it. And my sister, one of my younger sisters, I almost said her name and I don't want to say names on the podcast. She always says there's no such thing as halves in this family.
No.
And that is so very true. There's just not. But just because he wasn't my biological father does not mean that his death didn't
Didn't
impact
yeah.
me
No, it
like everyone else.
he
It
wasn't
did.
my father. He was my
Right.
father-in-law, but I'm still feeling it today because I
Right.
loved your dad.
Right.
I loved your dad. He was a really good guy, and with all your sisters and your brother, I mean, God, he
Yes.
loved all of them, all of you
Right.
the same.
Yeah. And grief is this tricky thing because I remember sitting at his bed and I was at the foot of the bed and I was just thinking to myself, this is your chance. Ask him.
Yeah.
This was at the beginning of his hospice before it got really, really
Really
bad.
bad, yeah.
And he was still talking. And I just couldn't do it. I could
Yeah.
not bring myself to do it. And after his death, I just felt this regret because I was now the oldest living person in my immediate family.
Yeah.
There was no one to ask the questions that I needed to know or always wanted to know. Um, they would never be answered. And having this podcast
Yeah, now we can
i- i-
actually
say things.
help our kids,
Right.
grandkids, future
Yeah.
great-grandkids
No
have
stories.
they'll have these stories,
Like,
they'll be able to listen to
off the
them.
cuff stories.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, I wish I was talking to my mom last week and, about this, and I told her, I says, I don't know any stories about my grandfather, when he came over from Italy and Sicily. I have nothing. I said, and I told her the same thing what you just said, and she's like, "That's amazing." She goes,
Right.
"That's a great thing that you guys are doing."
Right. Ask the
Yeah.
questions. I think that's my biggest regret. And after his death, we had lost my mom 3 years prior to my dad's death.
Yep.
We also lost my brother in law. We also lost an aunt. You were having health issues. There was all these things going on in our family. And I think in that moment when my dad passed, I felt this because I consider myself a very strong person.
Oh
I don't
yeah.
like to cry in front of people.
Mhm.
I try never to break down. Everything's going to be okay. And in that moment, I don't know why I felt like every emotion came and grabbed me by the ankles and was holding
Yep.
on. And I remember it was probably a couple weeks after my dad's death, and I had said to my doctor, I said, I was going through the motions on some days, but there were days where I don't think I remember
Yeah.
hours and hours throughout that day because the grief just it was consuming because I wished that I would have had conversations that I was too afraid to have. So,
Yeah.
if anybody's listening and you have a parent and
Ask those questions.
ask
Yeah.
questions that you've always wanted to know, write down the recipe. Well, I'm not going to be writing down recipes, but ask for the recipe. Ask the question because one day it will be too late. And for me, when my dad passed, and now everyone that's older than us, all the people that I could turn to and ask these questions that I wanted to know for a long time, there was no one left to
They're
ask.
gone. Yeah.
And I was left with that. I was left with, you know, when people are adopted, you don't know who your parents are. But I wasn't adopted. And even though I wasn't adopted, I know who my dad was that raised me. I had my mom. I still don't know my story of how I came to be. And I
Yep.
may never know this story.
Right.
And when my dad passed, I think that that was a huge regret that I could not find the strength to ask him because a piece of me didn't want to hurt his feelings
Yeah.
because he didn't see me any different. He didn't treat me any
No, not at
different.
all.
Yeah, so that was a difficult part. So believe me, if anybody out there is listening and needs to know something from a parent
Yeah.
or there's a favorite recipe or you want to learn how to cook something, do it.
Yeah.
I don't care. Do it,
Yeah.
do it, do it
And
because I promise you
you won't have a
how
regret.
no,
Yeah.
how I felt the first few weeks after my father passed because it was a lot of things in that one thing. I don't wish on anybody.
No.
Navigating through that was was really hard, and I found my way through. But ask the questions.
Yeah. Even
So
if it's something that you might not want to hear,
right,
but if you have that question, ask it. If
right.
whether it's a bad answer or a good it could be the best answer that you don't know
Ask the
until you ask.
question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Find out that recipe before it's too late. So you still have both your parents. Your mom is,
She just turned
and
86.
your dad
He'll
is
be 84.
84. I mean,
Yeah, at
what a
my age, I
gift.
still have both my
Yes, what a gift.
parents.
What a
Yeah.
gift. So I think that's a wonderful thing. And because of that, I didn't want this episode to be completely sad because saying the words that I've said out loud is
Yeah.
hard and It brings up a lot of emotion. But I've made a few phone calls. I've had some wonderful phone conversations with your dad the
Yeah.
last week.
Yeah.
We've been on the phone. I think one night he called me at 1:30 in the
1:30
morning.
Well, he doesn't know the time. He's in his room.
All day.
Yeah,
It's the same time all day.
yeah.
That's okay. So, but I figured that we would talk a little bit about your dad before the episode ended.
Yep.
Episode number 3, I
Three.
wanted to talk about that. We talked a little about my dad, so I wanted to talk about yours. So your dad told me that in the 60s and 70s, he was a stand-up
He
comedian
was.
out on the stage, trying to get a little famous.
Yeah.
He wanted to make sure that when I talked about this, I mentioned some of the people he's met along the way. So I wrote
Famous people too. Yeah.
famous people. I wrote them down so I could get this right in case he's listening. So, Dad, this one's for you if you're
Yeah.
listening. Frank Sinatra was somebody he met while he was a stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
That's his idol. Frank Sinatra Jr., Frankie Avalon,
Yeah.
Sid Caesar, who was sitting on a bench telling jokes, Dinah Shore, Jerry Lewis and Merv Griffin, Paul Anka, Rex Trailer,
One of our hometown people. Yes, Rex Trailer.
John Wooten,
John Wooten, also a hometown.
World's
Yeah.
Strongest Man. I don't know. I forget. He pulled a boat,
He had
an elephant.
He had
I don't
tug of war
know.
with two planes or something like that. But he was from Boston himself, John Wooten. I met him myself.
Yes, you got to meet
Yeah.
him too. And then your dad said his least favorite, and I won't say why, was Mr. Soupy Sales.
Comedian.
Soupy Sales. So that was his least favorite person to me. Of course, his favorite was his idol, Frank Sinatra. So he told me a little bit about that journey and going on stage and telling his jokes and being part of that comedian nightlife. And
Yeah.
he loved it.
He used to write his own jokes too
Write
when
his
he
own?
was on stage.
Yes. So speaking of the writing the own jokes,
Oh yeah.
when I first met you,
Oh yeah.
okay, back in the day, let's kick it back to 1988 again for a moment. You tried to impress me one time
With one of his jokes.
with one of your dad's jokes. Yes,
which was my favorite of his jokes.
That's right. Your dad gets credit for this moment,
Oh, yeah.
but go ahead and tell the listeners that joke that you told me on our,
Oh, God.
I don't know, it's probably like our 4th or 5th date.
I hope I don't screw it up.
It's okay if you do.
Well, it's off the cuff, so if I screw it up, I apologize.
Go ahead, give it a whirl.
All right. So if I can remember correctly, my aunt and uncle, right from Sicily, Giuseppe and Maria, Maria wanted to renew her vows, and she wanted to renew them by going through the desert on a camel. So they rent a camel and they start trotting through the desert. And all of a sudden, halfway through the desert, the camel stops dead in his tracks. Now, remember, they're Italian. They speak broken English. So Giuseppe jumps down off of the camel and he goes, "Oh my God, Maria, jump down. We got to get this camel moving." So he's pulling and she's pushing. And then all of a sudden, the camel takes off. And Giuseppe says, "Maria, what do you do?" She goes, "I see these two things hanging. I pinch them." So he bends over and he says, "Pinch your mine. I gotta catch it, the camel." So I hope that was funny. I don't know if I said it as good as him, but that was one of my favorite jokes.
Pinch your mine. I gotta catch the camel. Oh, that's so funny. Yes, you told me that.
Yeah.
When we first met.
And she's still here. Oh,
I'm
God.
still here. Yeah. So I think it's funny because the joke that you should have told, if everybody's listened to episode number 1, the joke you should have told was, what did one plate say to the other plate?
I forget. But
lunch is on me.
Lunch is on me. Oh, man. See ya. Anyway.
Lunch is on me. That's the joke you should have told after episode number 1.
Oh, yeah. After that McDonald's fiasco. No.
Well, thank you, everyone. We try to keep these episodes around 20 minutes. We don't want to
No, we don't
take
want
up too much of your time.
or bore you
Yes.
or make you
So,
laugh too hard that your stomach hurts.
yes, we hope you're enjoying this. And I hope that with this episode, celebrating my dad, I hope
Yeah,
that
yeah.
wherever he is today, the fish are biting, his coffee's strong. And I hope that, and for anyone who still has their parents,
Yep.
enjoy that gift and cherish every moment
Every
and
moment.
ask every question you need to ask. Don't wait because I promise you it will be too late.
Yeah.
And use your platforms the best you
For
can.
positive stuff.
Yes, get
Yeah.
out there and walk that walk. Don't just talk that talk.
Right.
And support one another. If you see somebody with a small business, share it.
Yeah.
If you see an author trying to, share a new book, share
Share it
it.
for them. Yeah.
Yes, don't
The,
don't wait to be asked.
don't be, this is what I always say, don't be jealous of what other people have. Thank God they have it. Praise them for having it.
Help one another.
Help them. Yeah. You don't want to
Yes.
just say, oh,
Life is too short. Be
yeah.
mindful. And but to everyone, to my siblings,
Yeah.
I just want to say, I know we've all had this rough year
Yeah.
and we got through it together. My siblings and I, we have this great bond, but we also have this way of all became who we needed. And I think what I love about us is we love hard. And even when we're passionate and we have an argument, we're able to say to one another,
Yeah.
um, I'm sorry.
I'm
And
sorry.
not
And it's over.
not a, I'm sorry you
But
made me do
you
this
made
to
me do
you.
this. Yeah. No, it's over.
We
If you
can,
say sorry, it's done.
and put a period at the end
Yeah.
of it and move on from it. So if in your life, if there's anything going on with someone, fix it before it's too late.
The best thing, like you said, honestly, the best kind of apology is I'm sorry
I'm
and
sorry.
mean it. Not
Yes. Yeah.
try to explain why you
Life
said
is
what you
very
said.
short.
It's I'm sorry.
Yeah, there was a lot of moments when I sat at my
Yeah.
dad's. When you watch somebody in hospice, death is hard. Their grief just really, it does grab you by the ankles when you least expect
Yeah.
it. And honestly, it's just one of those things that is so hard. And sitting at my dad's bed and watching him in hospice was just difficult.
Is
It
awful.
was
Yeah.
awful.
Yep.
Yeah, there are no words to describe it. So,
No.
to my siblings, all the love today. I
Yeah.
know this anniversary marks a lot for a lot of us. So, and to everyone else, thank you for listening.
We love
Thank
you.
you. We so appreciate it. And this one is more about grief and camels.
Yeah.
Pinching those things, get that
Yeah.
camel shooting off. But we hope you enjoy our podcast. Thank you for
Thank you.
listening
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
Marriage, Madness,
Madness
and
and
Magic.
magic. We love you.
Yay!
Bye bye.
Bye.